I'm Dr. Sarah Benis Scheier-Dolberg, and I'm a coach, educator, leader, strategist, fundraiser, researcher. I have many hats that I wear, but in my coaching and in all my work, it all goes to the purpose of amplifying joy, love, and vitality for myself, my clients, and the communities that I serve. I'm a teacher by training, and I have had the opportunity to teach in high schools, teach at the university setting. I also have taken that passion and that love of teaching and learning into my work in leadership and nonprofit sectors, working in after school and youth development work. And part of my journey has been realizing that in order to teach successfully, and the schools and the school systems I work in are primarily urban schools, but in order to be successful, I've had to really think about how to change the system. So even though my love and my passion is really around, and really I would say my work is like a calling, right? Like I feel called to serve. I feel like I want to engage individually with every student, whether that's a teenager, whether that's someone my own age, older, whatever the role. But I found that there's always something in the system that's a roadblock. And so a lot of my work and my story has been around leadership, has been around strategy, even research. There's been a lot of tools and that I've had to acquire and roles that I've played. I mentioned fundraising because in order to get to the heart of learning, of service, of coaching, I often need to be able to manipulate all the parts. And so I think that, as we talk more about my journey with CTEDU and my coaching practice and my business, there is that larger context that's there for me. And I can't help but be, I think well served, but also sometimes it's a bit of a blind spot that I engage so much of my time as a leader and as a teacher and as a doer and someone who's trying to make systematic change in our communities and for our kids, where there's still a lot of barriers, right? There's still a lot of work to be done. So, I think that's an important piece of who I am just as a human being, and it really impacts the kind of spaces where I do my coaching work. I've always been a coach, right? There's no way for me to, like, I was thinking about this and like looking backwards, and it's like I see the best in people and I also see their potential. Like I'm a maximizer. And so when I encounter a person, I'm seeing what their strengths are and I'm also envisioning where they're going to go in the future. And so, coach, like, maybe lowercase c coach. I think I've been that way since I can remember myself. At least let's say start back in high school. But I think uppercase, like coach, like ICF certified coach. What really inspired me was taking the opportunity to try to take care of myself and to step back from my professional context and say through serving others in this way I can really take care of myself. So I think that's the more kind of recent inspiration for coaching. But I think it's a part of me, it's a part of who I've always been, is to be a coach, whether I was coaching fellow teachers, whether I'm coaching the teenagers who I'm teaching, whether I'm like coaching a debate team, right? Like that coach role has kind of always been there for me. So I just got certified through ICF. I have my PCC license as of this week. I took my exam. So I am in this space with my coaching business where I have clients who I work with. I have a handful of clients I work with on a regular basis. Um, but my coaching business is one where I'm a solo practitioner. I have my own business and I do consulting work and research work, and teaching and training. But I now have more space to do the coaching work. And so, my business right now, I offer coaching as a service that kind of supplements the work that I do working with schools or nonprofits, doing leadership work, doing executive coaching. I also do a lot of team coaching. So I'm certified with Gallup through their strengths coaching program. And so I found that a lot of my coaching business right now is focused on integrating earlier work I did with emotional intelligence tools with the strengths-based tools that Gallup uses to really be able to create some interesting coaching opportunities around group dynamics with teams, thinking about how to get a team engaged differently. And then, my coaching business is also, primarily working with either leaders of an organization, leaders of families. So I work with parents. A lot of my clients tend to identify as being women. I really, I take a variety of folks in my work. And then, the other kind of large clientele base for my coaching work right now is teenagers. So I do a lot of both group and individual coaching with middle school kids and high school kids through peer tutoring and peer mentoring programs and peer coaching programs. And I've found that I tend to collect these amazing kids who I stay with through their journeys from middle school through college and into their careers. So a lot of my coaching work and my future coaching colleagues are the kids that I'm serving right now in some of my other roles. My vision goes back to what I shared initially is that idea of amplifying love, joy, vitality for myself and for the communities that I serve. I'm pretty opportunistic. I do a lot of customization for the clients and the communities that I work with. So my vision is just to really stay in harmony with that, right? If I am feeling that vitality myself, if I really love the work that I'm doing, if the coaching work or the training work that I do really brings joy and people look forward to that work, that's really the vision, right? Is to run a business and to stay in a leadership role where I'm feeling those, I feel that vitality and those who I work with are feeling it. And, so for me, it's less about I'm very outcomes based with my clients, but then for me, it's really about staying in tune with that mission, because I want to stay in this work long term. Had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different roles and have benefited from that and gained a lot of expertise. But this coaching work, I love it. And this work of being able to run my own business and really serve communities in a way that's not depleting my resources, but actually fills the tank. So that's really my vision is that I can stay true to that, through all the ups and downs that come with, the financial and personnel and, all of the other kinds of opportunities for problem solving that come in this world. You have to do it. That's my advice. It is the best job. And, it is so simple to be a coach. And at the same time, it takes every part of you to do well. And I just think that's a wonderful combination, to be able to practice presence with your clients and for yourself. I just think it's like invest, do it, and uh, and don't be afraid to walk through the uncertainty that it takes to stay in the work of coaching. In my memories of my younger self, I was so eager to gain expertise. And I didn't feel like I could be a credible professional without living longer and knowing more and experiencing more. And so I was always seeking that expertise. And what I what I think about now is that being curious and being present is so challenging, but it's the gift that we give ourselves and those around us. So, I think my advice is, as a younger person, try to let the expertise come and the experiences come and have patience with yourself, and the fact that you haven't had all those yet. Because if you are curious, you're gonna harvest wisdom, right, from your experiences, and you're going to be satisfied with what you're doing, and and who you become and where you go. And I think that curiosity, especially of tuning in to where your strengths are, right, to say like, where am I talented? What do I love to do? Like, what feels good? Like, what do other people recognize me for? And really like leaning into that and being curious about it and being open to it, and letting go of those very loud voices and instincts that are saying you're not good enough. These are your weak spots. Focus on those, So like really, really tuning into and being curious about um, who you are, what you're good at, and like how to just, you know, meet yourself where you are in this present moment. Initially, coaching gave me the confidence to feel like I was good at teaching. So, in my experience as a teacher, coaching other teachers was expected, encouraged, and supported once you had a year or two under your belt of teaching. And so, getting that designation of coach just made me feel like I was going in the right direction as a teacher, and it helped me stay in the profession of teaching, because I work in urban schools. It's a cruel place for a lot of kids to be. A lot of schools are dysfunctional and they don't work, and it's really hard to be an educator and see what kids face in school. And being able to be a coach as a teacher, helped me to feel inspired and to feel connected to other adults who also believed in kids and also believed that our schools could meet the challenges and the the calling to really educate all children to their fullest potential. And then that's 20 years ago. So fast forward 15 years, and I think there's another moment in my life uh, where coaching really changed or impacted. And I was in my CTEDU program, and, had decided, kind of left my uh, executive director position in a nonprofit and was making space to be a coach, and just making space to live a different kind of life, and kind of seeing some signs that things weren't well for me personally. And I got a cancer diagnosis with like 6 weeks left of my training program. And, for me, it was like, I'm going to finish this program and I'm going to, relaunch my business. And, it's like this very bright future, and like, oh, I'm self-actualized, and I'm like turning away from, a lifestyle of leadership that's been too much. And I got this diagnosis for this very aggressive breast cancer, and I just had to stop everything, including my training program, and I had to figure out how to move forward, like what treatment to do, and how to live my life while being treated for cancer. And that was in 2022. or 2022. It's 2025 now, right? So it's like 2 years since I was like in full treatment mode. My hair is back. I have no more cancer, which is great. My medical team was amazing, and I put a lot of things on hold to take care of myself. And when I got back up to speed professionally, and I looked inward to say, like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be now? Right. And, you know, coaching was something I was curious about. And I really was like, wondered if I had to close that chapter. And, I have a lot of friends who are coaches, and it just, it felt like too much work to finish and to get my credentials. And, there were so many reasons not to do it. And, I just kind of like poked a little bit and said, maybe I should you know, lift under the cover a little bit and say, like, is this still possible? And so, there's, like I said, I passed my exam this week, and I was so emotional about it. And I really feel like there's something in being able to go back to CTEDU this year and to have the support to like finish this program 2 years later. Right? I started in 2022. It's 2025. I think I got my my certificate last month. Um, and to have the kind of experience where you trust that the professionals on the other end are going to be as invested in your growth as you are. It kind of affirmed for me that coaches are are brilliant, dedicated, passionate humans who want to connect with other people and really help them be their best. And so I think that, more recently, you know, kind of coaching with a capital C, right? Like, I have my credentials, this is great. Really, I think reaffirms that, you know, making that space for your own health and well-being, even if you have these goals that feel like really worthy, is worthy too, right? And just as worthy as um, doing good in the world. That being able to like do good for yourself and do good for others can be, like one and the same. So, I would, I don't know that I would say it changed my life, um, but it coaching, I think, you know, helps me to see that I'm directing my energy in the right place and that I have the agency to be amazing on my own terms. So it became very clear, I would say by like class 2, that I talk a lot, that I have a lot to say, that I feel comfortable in the expert or consultant mindset, and that was not going to work well for uh becoming a, like, what I would call a capital C coach, right? Like a ICF certified coach, a coach who makes space for others. Like I trusted myself that I had the instincts to coach and I had the skills to coach, but it was very clear and very helpful to identify right away what was going to be my biggest gap as a coach to cross, which was to become, not just aware of how much I felt comfortable talking and wanted to share my ideas and questions, um, but that I could channel my curiosity to help me find ways to, cross that gap. CEDU has a lot of tools. I am one of those technology database people who just like anytime I'm given an online resource or anything digital, something I can download and read, like I just absorb it all. So I was like, turn on everything you have. Let me like put me in all the courses that I am allowed to do, give me all the support groups, do, so they're like, I was just so happy that there were all these different modalities that I could be like, all right, how do I want to do my coaching business? Because I was in a moment of self-definition. And like as a coach, a lot of my work I've done internal to organizations. So trying to start my own one person coaching business, you know, I, I I enjoyed starting the work, but I couldn't figure out how to finish it, or how to actually get a finished business product to market. And so I felt like CTEDU had things I could read, groups I could be a part of, and just like this great uh, presence online, kind of everywhere in social media, lots of ways to network and learn because I like to network through learning. So there's just like endless opportunities. Um, but I think the single biggest leg up that CTEDU gave me was the coaches I came in contact with. So particularly trainers in my 2.0 course, my assessor, um, just being able to see the ways in which they were authentic in our sessions as teachers, facilitators of learning, mentoring, coaches, and then to also see what did the professional side of their businesses look like, and to then also have those informal kind of office hours that we could use to talk through some of those questions. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. And as someone who's like a real learner, or like I said, a database person, I found that CTEDU had like everything. Like I could just plug in and download and try and talk and learn. So I felt like it was incredibly helpful and continues to be helpful to use that network as I, continue to define and expand my coaching practice. So in class, one session, John came in to substitute for one of our teachers or trainers, and it was so much fun to have him kind of just come into the class and be with us and to model what it's like to be playful and to be just so good at coaching. We had, because we were like practicing our time model, and every week we'd have a different tool or set of tools to practice. And so we were a little bit formulaic as a group in our work, trying to like try these tools out. And John just comes in with this sense of play, and we're watching him show us the time model in a way like you've never seen it done before. And then he does another practice coaching session, and it's like another way. And it just freed us up, right? Because I could see it wasn't just me, but like, so I'm gonna say us, but I should speak for myself. Like it freed me up to play and to say, I can hit my marks, but I can do it in a way that has a flow that's natural to this moment and this client. And I found that to be so liberating and transformative for my practice. The second aha I'll share is Raj. So I cannot say enough about the transformative power of any moment spent with Raj in looking at our a coaching session, and we're I'm being assessed, or we're in a class together, or we're just having an informal conversation. The questions that she asks, the questions that she comes up with that you could try asking the client that you're just looking at together, I kid you not, it's like there's 8 to 15 transformational moments in any session I have with Raj. So to have that experience on the regular was so amazing. And I'll even tell you, I think the reason why I passed the ICF exam this week was because when I didn't know what to do, I was like, what would Raj do? How would she answer this question? What would be her, like worth? Because she has an opinion on it, and she just has such a fantastic way of uh being a coach. So, I think that you have folks who you kind of see in the videos for CTEDU doing their thing, and then to have them in real life, like in the kind of, just normal moments of being in a coach training program, and they're just so powerful in that way, all the time. I just, it helped to grow me as a coach, but it also helped to light the way to say, like, I can be on that path too.